In this video we'll look at the AutoCAD interface. We'll be using AutoCAD 2021, which is the latest version of the software, and on the screen here at the bottom you can see the Home tab of the ribbon. Now this version of the software is the 35th major release of AutoCAD. AutoCAD's been around since 1982, and in the early years the software was primarily based on typed in commands and was based on DOS. You had the DOS stands for Disk Operating System. And then in 1992 Autodesk released two versions of the software, one for DOS and one for Windows. And since 1997, with the release of AutoCAD 14, AutoCAD has since then been available for Windows only and no DOS versions. AutoCAD is also available to run on a Mac. We'll go on now and look at the AutoCAD interface. When you start up AutoCAD, you get the start screen that you see here. The start screen is comprised of two tabs, the Learn tab, which you see here, and the Create tab. You can use these buttons here at the bottom to switch between them, or you can use the arrow here on the left to go back to the Learn tab, or the one here on the right to go back to the Create tab. On the Learn tab, there are some useful videos that you should watch in your own time to get some better insight into how AutoCAD works. AutoCAD has its own What's New and Getting Started tour of the interface here, and you can look at those. You also have some learning tips here, and these can provide useful information, and you can look at those and scroll through those again in your own time. There's access to some online resources here, and again clicking on these will take you into those there, such as the Hitchhiker's Guide to AutoCAD. Let's close this. On the Create page you can select from existing templates. We'll look at this in a second. You can also open files or open a sheet set with some sample drawings. Here you can see some recent documents that you have opened. If you've logged in to Autodesk A360, then you get this connection screen here that tells you that you've logged in, and you can do this from up here. This gives you access to online resources and allows you to save to the web and so forth. So we get some tips here as well under notifications, and you can look at that again in your own time. So to begin AutoCAD properly, you could select one of the existing templates, and you can do that from here, or if you right click here on the Start tab and select New, you also have the option to open drawings. Select New, and here you can pick one of the default templates that come with AutoCAD. Now, as we'll be drawing in metric, we're going to select the AutoCAD ISO template. You also have some templates here for 3D and some specialist templates for architecture and manufacturing. Select AutoCAD ISO for metric. If you were using Imperial, you'd click on the AutoCAD template. By selecting AutoCAD ISO as our start point and click Open, AutoCAD makes a brand new copy of that template in a drawing, and this is currently drawing 5, but that doesn't matter. Let's look now at the AutoCAD interface. So starting from the top left, the A for Application button here, if you click on that, you can see recent documents that you've opened. You can also start a drawing from here. You can open existing drawings. You've got options to save and save as a drawing in a different format, such as a drawing template or standards file. You have import and export options, publish and print options, and some drawing utilities tools. And you also have access here to options, which we'll look at in a future video, which looks at some of the settings behind AutoCAD, and you can also exit the program from here. At the very top here, this is known as the Quick Access Toolbar, and if you click the drop down arrow there at the end, you can turn on and off various items here that you want to access. So yours might look a little bit different from mine here. I have, for instance, Match Properties turned on. So that's match properties here. So if I turn it off, AutoCAD removes it from the quick access toolbar. So the quick access toolbar provides a quick way of accessing some useful tools that you use a lot. You also have options here to open and save to the web and mobile. So if I want to turn on any of these tools, such as match properties, click it again and AutoCAD will add it to the toolbar. Clicking on the drop down arrow also gives you the option to show and hide the pull down menu. So I have the pull down menu showing there. I've now hidden it. So if you don't have a pull down menu, that's how you turn it on. Show menu bar. And now this gives you access to the pull down menu, which will give you access to all of the commands in AutoCAD. Just one thing here as well, AutoCAD has different workspaces, and the default one is called drafting and annotation. It's denoted here by these, looks like a sprocket wheel here, or a cog. If you click on the drop down here, you'll see AutoCAD has also got a 3D modeling and a 3D basics workspace, but we're going to be focusing on drafting and annotation. The name of the drawing will appear up here on the title bar, and this gives you access here to your Autodesk A360, all the services that come with that, and the App Store and so forth. You've got access to help here. So there's lots of ways of interacting with AutoCAD, and one of these is the ribbon. So the pull down menu, we've shown you how to turn that on, and normally we'd leave that on, and again just to remind you, you do that from here. And show below the ribbon, if you were to select that option, that will put the quick access toolbar below the ribbon, and we'll just change that back and put it above the ribbon at the top. So here is the ribbon, and the ribbon is comprised of tabs such as the home tab here, and panels, and here's the draw panel, and these panels can be expanded, and if you want to see some of these tools all the time, you can pin these expanded panel there by clicking the push pin there. So this gives you access to some more tools. Here we've got spline fit and helix tools and revision cloud and so on. You can unpin that and then it goes away. Again, similarly here, here's the modify panel. So AutoCAD has grouped commands on these panels in a way that makes sense. So we have all our draw tools on the draw panel, our editing tools here on the modify panel, and again clicking on the drop down there, you can expand that out and you can pin it there if you need to access some of these tools down here. So explore these again by hovering the mouse over any of these tools, and if you leave it there for a second or two, you get an expanded help drop down there that gives you some more information on each of these tools. So let's unpin that. So you've got the insert tab, and that has its own panels and so on. If you right click anywhere on the ribbon, you can see all of the tabs that are turned on, and we don't have the visualize and 3D tools, but we don't need those. But if you need those, you can click those to turn them on. And similarly, we can see the panels associated with each tab. So let's go say to the view tab here on the ribbon, and this is our UCS icon, which we see down here at the bottom, user coordinate system icon. We've got a view cube up here at the top right, and the navigation bar appears here. So if you were to turn that off by clicking on it there, it turns off that menu. Similarly, the cube and the icon. Now you normally would want those on, but that's one way of turning those on. The navigation bar has options here to pan and zoom your drawing, and rotate or orbit your model, and slow motion and so on, that you can explore yourself. Also here on the view tab, you have control here of the layout tabs and the file tabs, which appear up here at the top. So again, you want to see those. So if they're not there, you can turn them on and off from here. And down at the bottom here, we've got what are called the layout tabs. So you've got model and layout 1 and layout 2. And again, you can turn these on and off from here. Model is where we'll spend most of our drawing time drawing here in the graphics area. And layouts are to do with plotting your drawing on the paper. And we'll see this in future videos. So again, if I right click here anywhere on the ribbon and go show panels, we see here the panels that relate to the current tab, which is the view tab. And you can see here that not everything is turned on. For instance, the coordinates panel is not turned on. So if I were to tick that, you now see the coordinates panel appears here on the view tab. To turn it on, turn it off again, just click on it. We don't need it for the moment, and the coordinates panel is now removed. So if you think something should be there, you can always go in and check on any of these tabs and make sure that all the panels that you need are turned on. So the ribbon is easy to navigate, and you can access most of the tools that you need using the ribbons, tabs and panels. This is the graphics area, and depending on AutoCAD settings, yours may be black or white as mine is here. Up here we've got on the top left, we've got some viewport controls, and we are looking at the top view here, and it's wireframe, so we're looking straight down on whatever we're drawing. I'm going to be drawing in 2D. This is our view cube here. And again, we'll come back and look at that again, but for now we're looking straight down on the top of whatever we would draw. So if you want to change your graphics screen to white, if you right click on the graphics area, one way to do this is to select options, display, and you can go in here to colors. So 2D model space, uniform background, and you could change your background to black from here. And if I apply and close that, you can see that you've now got a black background. Now I'm going to change this back to white, apply and close, and you can see that you've got a lot of other interface elements here that you can also change the color, and we'll revisit some of these in future videos. There are lots of settings you can change here in options, and we'll look at some of the more important ones again. Now down here at the bottom is the command line area, and this is an important aspect of the AutoCAD interface and interacting with AutoCAD. So if I select line up here on the ribbon, you can see down here at the bottom on the command line, AutoCAD says specify the first point. So now AutoCAD is looking for the first point, and when you pick a point, it's now looking for another point, and we get this rubber banding effect, and we can click and you can draw. Now we've just drawn random lines here. I've just pressed F3 on my keyboard there to give me this object snap in point, so it's going to jump onto the end there so I can draw that accurately. Now a very important part of interacting with AutoCAD is the status bar. The status bar is down here at the bottom, and is comprised of all these drawing aids to make it easier for you to draw accurately. Now over here on the right, you have 3 stacked lines. It looks like a hamburger symbol. This tool here gives you access to customization, and it lists all of the tools that are available on your status bar. Any tool that you need to add, so I've ticked on coordinates, that now appears down here. So check that you've got various tools. You mightn't have all the ones that I have turned on. So, you know, line weight and transparency. So if you want to avail of those, turn those on there. I've also turned on our units. So if you look here, click on units. So now you have your units turned on. Quick properties is also a nice item to turn on as well. In here in customization, ticking these will add them to the status bar, and then on the status bar, items which are blue then are active. So at the moment we can see that we've got a grid. If I were to click on that, this removes the grid, and F7, and again if you hover over this you can see grid mode. F7 turns the grid on and off. If you want to turn your snap on and off, you can press F9 on your keyboard or click on this tool here, and this snap is like an invisible grid that allows you to snap to grid points or between grid points, and we'll look at this again in future videos. So moving along here, just quickly hover on these. Dynamic input turns it on and off. This tool here turns orthographic on and off, or F8 will do the same thing. If you want to draw using polar tracking, F10 or clicking on this icon will turn it on and off. This is your ISO draft tool for isometric. Object snap tracking, F11 will turn this on and off. This is our object snap, and you've got various options in here for snapping to different geometries such as in point and midpoint and so forth. Line weights if you want to display those, transparency and so on, and some other tools. We also have access to our workspaces down here at the bottom, and as we mentioned earlier, we saw this up here on the quick access toolbar. Drafting and annotation is the workspace that we'll be focusing on for 2D drawing. If you want to zoom your geometry, if you roll the mouse wheel forward, it zooms in, and if you roll it towards you, it zooms out. And if you want to pan your geometry, just press the mouse wheel. So these are some things you can practice yourself. Mouse control, we can do a lot with just the mouse wheel. So there you have a fairly comprehensive overview of the main features of the AutoCAD interface. We'll use this knowledge now to use AutoCAD to draw effectively. Thanks for watching.